everyone's me, and welcome to another Star Wars Destiny video. I apologize that it has been so long since my last video, and yeah, unfortunately you guys aren't going to be receiving any more after this one either, because I am going away for 2 weeks, going on a family holiday to Scotland, rural Scotland in the middle of nowhere, so I won't be able to record. I really should have. I know, guys, I'm sorry. I absolutely should have just made like a backlog or something for you guys, but I felt that the first video I would have to make would be my Nationals coverage, how I did at the Star Wars Destiny Nationals, the UK Nationals, and then I put it off and procrastinated because I just didn't want to do it, because this is going to be a really long video most probably, and it required a bit of setup, and I was trying to script it out. Last time I did my coverage was Worlds, and I had written half a script for it so that I knew my general talking points, but that was just taking me forever because some games just really weren't worth talking about, and so I said, screw it, alright, it's Thursday, I'm going to be leaving on Saturday, I need to just do this, so I've just turned on the camera, I've got some back stuff prepared, and we're just going to go with it. So, first up, before we begin this, I'm sorry, once more before we begin, I was requested to talk about Gaming vs. Cancer 2018. Just real quick, this is a UK UK event, should I say, happening in Southampton, I want to say, where in November the 11th, which will be an event giving out like prize cards. They're going to have some alternate art stuff, like the new they've got a Rex art alternate art, which looks fantastic, for example. I'm going to put the link in the description for you guys to see. If you're in the UK and you're interested in taking part in that, go right ahead. I'm probably not going to be able to compete myself, to take part myself, simply because Southampton was really far away from me. And also, but I forget, of course, Game vs. Cancer, it is an event for Destiny, for X-Wing, for other FFG titles, and some random board games as well, and all the proceeds going to go to charity, so look that up. Anyway, back to this. Okay, so I decided to take Rookie Yoda Ezra because I figured that 1 mil would be a huge portion of the meta, and in fact it was. I think it made about a third of all the lists, or maybe even some people were saying half of all the lists, but I think that was a little over exaggerated. I think that was more like a third, maybe like 40%, but it was expected to make a huge showing, and it did. And I have 2 decks that are pretty good against Mill. I have Finn Mars and my Yoda Ezra Rookie. Now back at Worlds, my Yoda Ezra Rookie had a 100% win rate versus Mill, and even though I had absolutely no testing with this Yoda Ezra Rookie version, I thought, it's probably going to be a really good against Mill again because of cards like Runaway Boomers and Chance Cube. Runaway Boomers allows me to, of course, get a bunch of dice out. Chance Cubes allows me to get a bunch of resources and go for that ridiculously high ramp to go into my Y-Wings, my airspeeders. The idea is just have way too many vehicles for them to deal with. On top of that, Ezra does have this does have the specials. You can combine those with Yoda to steal resources from your opponent, and that stops them from playing their expensive cards. If you notice that the Yoda Cassian Anakin lists tend to have cards like Beguile and Hyperspace Jump, which are expensive. They tend not to run low-cost removal. In fact, I don't think they run any zero-cost removals at all. So once I get rid of their resources with Ezra and Yoda, I'm pretty safe. Now, the obvious counter to that, of course, is having their Yoda take resources, but no one ever did. Everyone was like, I want to use Yoda to mill because I'm on a timer, because I'm against a ramp deck. Now, I added a couple of extra cards just to guarantee that I'd be beating Mill, but also against Thrawn Snoke. Thrawn Snoke was the thing I was scared of the most. Snoke decks. Well, Thrawn Snoke and Afra Snoke decks. particularly. So I put in double DH17s, and I know this makes me kind of like drive-by shooting more because they also had pistols, but DH17 is very cost efficient and it is very, very good against mill decks that don't kill you, or ramp decks like the one Snoke that don't kill you round one, so you can use this past pistol multiple times. The main reason why I didn't run it at Worlds is because of something like Ayla Ray can just snipe off a character like that. As soon as you put a pistol on him, boom, you can snipe them off, so the pistol would only work really once, and I felt that just wasn't good enough. But I only added the pistol. I did not add the holdout blasters and stuff like that because we have some incredibly good vehicles, and by the incredibly good vehicles, I mean the Resistance Crate Speeder. That thing is a monster, way better than the Z95 Headhunter that it replaces, and it does a lot of damage. And has two base sides because this deck, with Ezra and Rookie Pilot having modifier size and DH17 Blast Pistol having modifier size, this deck actually struggled to have base sides, so it was a good thing that a lot of these mill decks did not run low-cost removal that could get rid of my base sides, my one or two base sides on like the Airspeeder or the Black One. I also added in 4-speed. So Leighton from the 3-man meta said that he had a really good running impulsive on his Yoda. Impulsive with Yoda's specials and Yoda focuses to just get out some quick burst damage against an opponent where they didn't see it coming and it just snipes people. And I figured, 4-speed is just a better version of that. I only have one in my real life collection, so I played it. And 4-speed turned out to be a fantastic choice. I'm not sure I'd ever want 2, but the fact that even if Yoda, that I can put it on either Ezra or Yoda because of Ezra's ability, play blue upgrades on the character ignoring play restrictions, along with the fact that a lot of these really efficient removal cards like easy pickings, I can play around up until, with my 4-speed special, dancing around up until I need to do my focusing, so I go 4-speed special, focus, boom, down. It also was very effective with cards like Black. It's also very effective with cards like Black 1 with the special, so I can do 1 damage, take 4 speed, and then resolve the Black 1 die. And stuff like R2-D2, who also has a special focus as his focus, and then Y-Wings, I can do use the special on Y-Wing and then 4-speed focus, and then I've got 2 actions. I can go for a discard to reroll and then go in for swing damage. And then also with C-3PO, which C-3PO is interesting with this because you can do 4-speed, use C-3PO's action as focus to focus your things, and then do damage, which could be used very nicely with a runaway boomers. So your runaway boomers, use your 3 indirect as. So you take 4-speed special, you use the 3 indirect from runaway boomers with C-3PO to turn 3 size to range damage and shoot. And overall, fantastic choice. Not sure I'd play more than 1, but fantastic choice. And of course, against Mill, we've got Chance Cube. Chance Cube, always a good card. I've talked about it before, but one cool thing against Mill is that, well, of course, at the end of the game, you have this still out. You can then bounce it back to your hand when you activate a character, which means that you don't die to Mill. But more importantly, actually, now that was just, a lot of people look at that and think, that's okay. But actually, there's a much bigger and much more important thing. Well, 2 of them, should I say. One, Chance Cube. People have trouble not removing it. Chance Cube is a fantastic target for removal sometimes because it represents you lose a resource, get nothing out of it if they remove the die. But if they're removing the Chance Cube die, they can't afford to remove the other dice. And people knew that. So my Chance Cube die was not removed by the small amount of removal they could afford to play, because you can never afford to play enough removal when Ezra's stealing all your resources. So that was very effective against the mill decks. And also, you can bounce back the Chance Cube to start off with, to have 6 cards in your hand, which reduces the chance of you losing an important card to, say, an Anakin Pod Racer's ability, or, as I did one time, I re-rolled Black 1 6 times to get a bunch of specials and damage. I just have 6 cards, discard, and there we go. Because what people seem to forget is that against Mill, you should still be discarding to reroll. You should be trying to be efficient at doing all of your doing your damage. You can afford to discard 2 or 3 cards per game quite easily in order to get that damage out to try and go for a kill on a character earlier. It's perfectly legit, and it works very well. And finally, the final card, last but certainly not least, Negotiate. Now, this is actually a funny card simply because so many people didn't know what it did. I play it against a lot of people and they're like, what? Let me read that card, huh? It's an Awakenings card. How did people not know it? But you remove a character dice to force your opponent to choose and remove 2 of theirs. This doesn't sound that effective, but, okay, so Thrawn rolls in after you've already rolled in an Ezra. Thrawn rolls in, he hits a resource and something else, you remove them. Okay, now Snoke has no one he can use his power action on. Similarly, against the Afro decks, Afro rolls in, misses her resource, okay? Rolls in Sienna, hits the resource, Negotiate, removes both those dice. Snoke's power action is turned off for that round, and that slows him down significantly. That almost cripples him. And then finally, against Mill, well, this removes 2 dice, but it can be any 2 dice. So if they have Anakin and Anakin's pod racer in the pool, you can negotiate to remove both of those dice, and that is also incredibly effective since Anakin's pod racer represents at least 1 discard, and Anakin's resource is also, and Anakin's die usually lands on resource, which, you know, I'm spending a resource to remove an opponent's resource, which I've just said, resources are very important to control against Mill with this deck. And also his discard, which probably was 2 discard, you know, on the Anakin's pod racer, because they usually turn Anakin's pod racer to a 1 discard and then make you discard 2. Well, I saved myself a card and also reduced my opponent's resource count by 1 in exchange for a resource of my own and a character dice. But you can use up some of these character dice. They're pretty good, but, you know, you can use them. But some sacrifices had to be made. So I don't own any Force Illusions in real life, and I couldn't get them. So I didn't run them. I figured that against super aggro like Sabine, I can beat that quite easily anyway, because I just need 1 round to kill Sabine. She only has 11 health. It shouldn't be too difficult, so I had no problem dropping Force Illusion there. Force Illusion is a dead card against Mill. Force Illusion is pretty good against Snoke Thrawn, but Snoke Thrawn tends to put all of their dice in one basket, all of their damage on 1 or 2 dice with their planetary bombardments and stuff to go for that 7 for 1. So you're just as effective having a removal card like Pin Down. And I only ran 1 caution, because I figured, again, dead card against Mill. But I did keep running 2 double easy pickings, because easy pickings is just so good against a Yoda rollout with specials. You know, Mill loves to roll in specials, and, you know, you've got that 1 in 36 chance of just removing any elite character's dice no matter what, at the very minimum. So easy picking is just too good for me to remove. In terms of just overall how this deck performed, I think the 1 card that actually held me back significantly was Rally Aid. It was good sometimes, but most of the time I never drew it, and when I did draw it, it was just going to be a discard to reroll. I found I had plenty of ramp as it was. I didn't need the Rally Aid. I could have gone with either another vehicle or a Force Illusion and maybe just 1 Rally Aid, or maybe a Force Illusion and something else. I couldn't get any Hellfire Droid tanks either. Runaway Boomers, whilst they were good, maybe they could be replaced by Hellfire Droid tanks. Runaway Boomers are really nice with C-3PO, but the Hellfire Droid tanks are a vehicle, but basically as good as them, costs 1 more, but then you don't have to pay, but instead of paying for the power action, you're just doing 1 damage for every vehicle you play. So that might be more worth it. Runaway Boomers, you're looking generally at 4 costs for 4 damage, but the potential to go up to 4 costs for 6 if you have too many focuses, whereas the Hellfire Droid tanks, you're looking generally at 4 for 4. You're generally looking at 4 costs but 4 damage every turn, much more accurately and guaranteed. After all, no blank sides. It's resistant to Force Jump, which is a card a lot of people play. Force Jump, 1 cost, blue upgrade, 2 specials, and they're both 2 specials, and they're turn a die showing damage to blank, then reroll this die into the pool. Runaway Boomers, weak to that. The Hellfire Droid tank, immune, which is pretty nice, along with like being immune to feel your angers and stuff like that. So maybe it's worth to remove that, or maybe it's worth to replace the black 1 with it. Maybe replace a black 1 and Rally Aid or something with them. But Hellfire Joy Tanks are like £14 at the moment. They're ridiculously expensive because everyone wants them. So yeah, this was the deck, and I have already spent way too much time on this. So let's go further. All right, so we're going to go into game one. Now, game one was against. There we go. Game one was against a Thrawn Snoke. Scary. And I'm on the Thrawn Snoke side. Perfect. So, I mulligan hard for a negotiate, and I get one. And I also get 4 vehicles in my hand, so this isn't looking good for me at the moment. Wow, all these extra dice, get rid of that. This is not looking good for me at all. I won't be able to slow down my opponent early. I don't have any ramp, so this is a big problem. So, I win the battlefield roll-off. I roll in Ezra immediately. Blah-de-blah, don't care what I get. He responds by rolling in Thrawn, and he hits a double focus. Or is it? No, sorry. He hits double resource. That's what happened, yeah. He hit double resource. So already I'm like, oh dear, this is a big problem. Because I have very little that can stop him, but it's fine. I do have negotiate. But of course, because it landed on double resource, he is really worried about easy pickings. So he calls 1. So I lose my negotiate. So now I have nothing to stop him. And he smiles because I have nothing to stop him. So I'm starting to play my cards, blah-de-blah. I'm doing my stuff. And he goes, chance cube on Snoke. Later, rolls in Snoke. Boo-de-boo. You know, uses up the focuses. He's got a 3 and a double focus. You know, resolves, has a bajillion resources, and plays the ATST. Well, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I finally managed to get up to 4 resources using Yoda dice and Ezra dice and stealing his resources. It's a pretty ideal situation for me, actually. I get double Yoda special into double Ezra special, and I end up with 4 resources. And I end up with 6 resources. So I play the Resistance Great Speeder, and then I play the black one. Because I'm like, well, I could play one of these 3 costs, but I'm going to go with the black one for the 4 cost and try and make something work with this. Discard 2, I should be able to at least do some good damage to this Thrawn. And then he, afterwards, plays the ATST for 6. I'm like, oh crud. So I roll in black 1. Black 1 rolls a blank. Perfect. He rolls in ATST. ATST rolls a special. And he's like, you know, that's fine by me. And he blows up my black 1. So I'm here with no resources, just these 2 dice. And this is a problem for me, because ATST, of course, blows up the support. So this round 1 was really, really bad for me. Round 2, though, I draw into Runaway Boomers. I start doing stuff. He gets nothing. I start doing some stuff. He rolls in the ATST. I have pinned down to remove the ATST die. It's fine. Awesome. He gets a bunch more resources, but he has nothing to do with him. Round 3 comes along, and I scruffy, and I pull out his Planetary Bombardment. But he still gets to play the Arc. 170, and I have no removal again. He rolls in Thrawn, he sees that, he rolls in the ATST, and then he turns it to the 5 for 1, and sudden impacts 3 damage to everyone. Ow. That hurts, but I do manage to kill off the Thrawn. Force Illusion gets played on Snoke, but he has taken 5 damage at this point. Then, on the final round 4, he gets to play out his other Planetary Bombardment. He managed to claim first, and he rolls in and hits the 7 for 1. And I have no removal in my hand round 4. I have nothing at all. I think I had a Caution, but Caution's a little late, isn't it? No, sorry. Okay. Wait. No, I did. I only had a Caution. But I have, like, so many vehicles at this point that I'm like, okay, if I survive this, I'll be fine. I had no removal in my hand. I'd been using it. I had 3 pieces of removal, 9 cards left in the deck. That's how it was. And then I drew 5. And then he, with the 7 for 1, sudden impacts me again. Boom, boom. And then like this. And then he rolls in the Arc 70 and kills me on the 3. Indirect. Because he was trying to bait out removal. He wasn't rolling in the ATSD. He was trying to bait out removal, and then so he focused the 3 indirect. He still had another focus available, but I didn't have removal for it. 3 indirect kills me. Or was it? Was it I had no removal, so he eventually rolled in the ATST and killed me? I forget. Either way, double sudden impact. I'm dead on the very first round. Discord. There's an overlay now. Interesting. I didn't know I had my Discord overlay turned on for this. Okay, well, I've learned that if I turn off Discord, sometimes my recording crashes, so I'm not going to do that for now. So, round 1, I'm going in with a loss. But I talk to people, and it turns out if I go 6-2, there's 8 rounds in the tournament. If I go 6-2, I will still manage to make it to the top cut. So, I'm guaranteed top cut at 6-2. So, I'm like, okay, I have a chance to get into the top 16 here. But I'm not sure how good my stamina can hold up. Because I was on 4 hours of sleep. Turns out, the train costs £70 to get from Harrogate to Birmingham. £70. So I took the midnight bus instead. It was a 5 a.m. bus. I call it the midnight bus. 5 a.m. bus. £13. Bit more reasonable. Saving me £57. You know? So, as a result of that, I tried to sleep early, but I didn't sleep very well. I was on like 4 hours of sleep by the time I got to the bus, and yeah. But I got there. I snoozed on the bus, actually. I managed to get a snooze on the bus. And then the bus stopping jolted me awake. And I looked at the time, and I still had half an hour before it was to be my arrival. I was like, I'll just check my phone map. Yeah, I want to know how long it is. Are we running late? So I checked my map on my phone, and I we're in Birmingham. I need to get off quick. So I managed to get off in time. The bus was not going to leave for another 30 minutes, but I was very worried in my sleep-addled state I was going to run off. So I made a bit of a scene as I left. It was quite funny. All right. So round 2 comes along, and I am sitting in front of a guy who pulls out Jar Jar Binks, Gungan Warriors, and Boss Nass. I'm like, okay, Gungans. Easy win. We start rolling off, and then the judges are like, wait, stop, everyone stop. We did the pairings wrong. Fantastic. Okay. So I retreat from my easy win, and I, after a few minutes of waiting, end up going against Yoda, Cassie, and Anakin Mill. Okay. Yoda, Cassie, and Anakin Mill. Well, he lost a game. Maybe he's not so great, hopefully. That's the hope at any rate. So, we start playing, and honestly, boring game. I just completely dominate the guy. I get out both runaway boomers very early. I have a pistol early on, and I just start rolling and killing him. And there's nothing he can really do about it. However, I ended the game. I had plenty of dice left to kill him with, but I only had 3 cards left in my hand. But twice, so round 1, he got out Anakin Skywalker's pod racer. Round 1, he rolls in Anakin's pod racer, and then he rolls in Anakin. Don't go to that side. Then he rolls in Anakin, and twice he gets one discard here, and he decides to focus the Anakin's pod racer to another 1 discard to go for that 3 discard at the start. And twice I easy pickings them. And I ended the game with 3 cards left in hand. If he didn't get easy pickings twice because he wasn't playing around, if he was playing around easy pickings, I would have lost those cards. I would have still won, but I would have been completely dry of cards, and he might have had a good chance. So I won, but I wasn't scared. But I was quite scared of how that was going. If he'd been realizing he got a discard there and focused to the double shield, he might have won. Honestly, 2 shields, not easy for me to break through, considering he has 27 health. Because I was running completely out of cards by round 4, obviously. Against this type of deck, but I survived. Then I took my win. Let's go into round 3 now. Round 3, I play a guy who's playing a very weird deck. Famous Pete double Mandalorian. Okay, that's interesting. I'll be honest. That's interesting. All right. So Piet has the ability where after you activate him, you can turn your non-unique character size to dice to size showing value 1. So this is highly efficient. Between the power actions and the autofocus, he's got 8 damage. He's got 8 damage very reliably. He's got 4 damage very reliably here, and he can go up to 8 with the double indirect. There, so he can go to 8 damage. He can also focus to the shields if he absolutely needs it, and just try and wear me down. He's got 27 health, which isn't bad. However, round 1, I draw my DH-17 blaster pistol, and I play it, and I also draw a Scruffy, and I play it and call upgrade, and get rid of one of his 2 upgrades, so he can only play power action 1 upgrade that turn. And I end up doing 7 damage to the Mandalorian. Because I think to myself, well, the deck is centered around Mandalorian's Piet. Piet has the extra dice, which can be scary with the indirect, but I'm much more worried about these direct damage power actions. I'm not so worried about the indirects because I can throw them onto Yoda or something and keep Ezra alive. And I can keep denying him resources so that he can only ever really play on 1 Mandalorian. Because he was playing a bunch of low 0 cost upgrades as well, like plated armor and stuff. And I couldn't stop that. But if I kept it limited to just 1 power action, he might have had a problem, right? So he couldn't play multiple pistols. And I ended up winning, despite the backup muscles that he ended up bringing out in the late game. Round 4, round 2, I killed the man. I'm getting way ahead of myself. I apologize. This is why I should have scripted. So, round 2. Round 1, this was fantastic for me. Round 2, I draw Scuffrey again, and yet again, I call upgrade and get rid of his other upgrade, so he only has 1 upgrade again. Fantastic. And I end up killing that Mandalorian Commando. His damage output is now significantly worse, and round 4, he has double backup muscle and stuff, but Yoda's on 3... Yoda's taking 3 damage, both of the characters dead, but round 4 is enough for me to kill him and finish him off, because this deck definitely is going to kill by round 4. Alright, so another fairly easy game, honestly. I had no real trouble with this. Okay, going into round 4 now, and I'm up against a Sabine Wren. Okay, specifically Sabine Wren Clone Trooper. If he was playing Sabine Wren Gungan, I would be overjoyed. Someone actually did, and they didn't do so well, and I was disappointed. But, could have been interesting. So, as I sit down, he says to me, "Hey, do you know how Sabine works?" I'm like, "Yeah, you play an upgrade from your discard and you get to roll her out." He's like, "Yeah, okay. So do you know how Rex's blaster pistol works?" I'm like, "Yeah, you get to roll out both characters." He's like, "Right, yeah. Do you know how Clone Trooper works? Because not a lot of people know how Clone Trooper works." I'm like, "Yeah, man, I get it. I understand how this deck is supposed to function. You have Rex's blaster on Sabine, you roll her out, you get to do the Clone Trooper, and you get to reroll." He's like, "Okay, good. Just making sure." So I'm like, okay, he probably has had a bad experience with someone. All right. But, it felt not really kind of sort of condescending, but I brushed it off. All right, so round 1 goes fantastic for me. I get out a DH-17 blaster pistol and a runaway boomers, and I do like 7 damage to the Sabine. And round 2, he feels it necessary to actually play the second chance on the Sabine. So round 2, I kill Clone Trooper, who had like 2 damage on him from the runaway boomers. I end up killing the Clone Trooper. And then round 3, he still hasn't drawn it, retreat or hyperspace jump, and he's just dead. Very, very easy game again. And I figured I'd do well against Sabine. I didn't even lose a character. It was just really, really depressing for him. No chance on his part. He just was not hitting the Sabine 3s very well, and he just didn't draw hyperspace jump or retreat, which he absolutely needed to try and have a chance this game. Much more to say again about this game. So this is why I'm not giving you guys the play-by-plays. Alright, so game 5 turns around, and I am sitting next to a guy who's wearing one of these cancer Game for Cancer shirts. They're handing out shirts, they're handing out pins, and they're wearing purple. So, my head, I'm thinking conspiratorially, and I'm thinking, Hyperloops are well known for wearing purple. These guys might be stealing the Hyperloop style, And I sit down, and the guy is kind of a little condescending to me. It's not anything special, but he's just rolling out. But he's saying everything his card does before he rolls it, and it's not like I play negotiate, remove 2 of your dice of your choice. It's I'm going to play negotiate, and what that does is that allows me to remove one of my character dice to remove 2 of yours. It's just okay. So he's playing mill as well, and he's playing the deck. I draw a chance cube at the start. I'm doing fantastically again. And at one point, and this is the game where I end up bringing the chance cube back to my hand and discarding like 4 cards to keep re-rolling for max damage to kill someone. And he was very surprised at this. He was very surprised I was discarding to re-roll. He's like, what are you doing? Your vehicles? I'm like, yeah. And I want to kill him. I want to kill you. And then I had the best karma ever when in the end of the game he rolls in the Cassian with a bartering on, ends up hitting double discard, and I negotiate. I'm like, negotiate. And he's like, what does that card do? I'm like, well, negotiate allows me to remove a character dice to remove 2 of yours. It was great. He did not expect to lose. He was being a little on the arrogant side. It wasn't really arrogant, but he was expecting to win because I was playing a vehicles deck, and he wasn't expecting what my deck can do, because my deck is a vehicles deck, but it is very good against mill. Vehicles is not bad against mill when it's a ramp vehicles like my Yoda deck. And I just preyed on him. I ended up with 1 card left in hand at the end, but 1 card is enough for me to get to the next round, and I'd already beat him this round, and that's after discarding like 4 cards myself to do re-roll for max damage. So again, very easy game. And I've beat 2 mills now, and neither of them have been difficult. So going into Game 6, you'll notice I don't have a Game 6 here. But I went into Game 6 against former national UK champion, Danny, from the 3-man meta. And he was also playing Yoda, Cassian, Anakin. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm really glad I brought this deck, because it's doing very well against mill decks so far. And I forget completely what happened in that game. It was very forgettable. I remember using my Ezra to remove all of his resources like normal. I remember him having to hyperspace at one point, getting off a hyperspace jump at one point, and using that instead of a second chance, which might have ended up being a mistake, I don't know, because I got 2 extra resources, which was very nice. And I remember having 1 card left in my hand by the end of the game, and there was nothing he could do to stop me having this 1 last card, so I got an extra round and won, but I would have also won anyway without the extra round again. Like, 1 card is 1 card too many for a mill deck. I remember not discarding nearly as much. I think I discarded once, but I remember just wrecking him, and it was not a contest again. I didn't have boomers this time. I didn't get a black one this time. Like those are what I would consider, those and chance cube and DH17s are what I would consider like my mill tech, my tech against mill, and I didn't draw any of them, and I still destroyed him. Honestly, probably didn't need to do mill tech. Probably could have kept using stuff like Force Illusion and Caution and just been fine. Because they just can't handle the sheer amount of dice I have. I mean, Beguile's a good card, but it costs 2 resources, and you're not getting 2 resources whilst Ezra's alive. And they can't kill my characters, so dice spam is just so effective against this version of Hero Mill. I strongly encourage it. So at that point, I'm sitting on 5-1, Danny is sitting on 4-2, and he is utterly terrified that he won't get into the top cut this time, despite being former UK national champion. Which is great. So, going into game 7 now. I just need to win one more, and I get it. So, going into this game, I pair up against Talzin Super Commandos, or Mother Mandos, as people like to call it, I think. And I am very scared of this deck. It's one of the few decks that can counter me quite well. Because of Sith Holocron with Force Waves and Force Jumps and Force Throws. Force Throws in particular are very scary against me because I have to leave a lot of dice out there. With Force Speed, I can somewhat get around a lot of his removal. By the way, I haven't been saying Force Speed, absolutely fantastic card several times as well. Great mill tech. I remember using it very well in game 5 to prevent my opponent from being able to easy pickings me. I'm really downplaying how good easy pickings is. It was absolutely fantastic. But anyway, I'm going up against Talzin Commandos, and I am very scared because of the Force Waves and Force Throws and Force Jumps. And I straight up say to him, hey, you've got the strong matchup here. And he's like, I'm not sure. I've not played against this deck. And I'm like, okay. So we start playing. Start doing some things. You know, he gets his commandos. He gets a couple of guns. I'm like, okay. And, you know, it gets to round 3, and he's lost Talzin. He's taken like 6 damage on this guy, 1 damage on this guy, but this guy has 2 shields and a Force Illusion on him. I don't want to grab the Force Illusion. And I've lost Yoda and Ezra. It's kind of scary, but I'm realizing something. He's got a pistol, and he's got another pistol here. And then in his hand, he plays another pistol to do 1 damage to the rookie pilot. And I'm like, you don't play Holocron, do you? He's like, no, I'm guns. I'm like, fantastic. I am no longer afraid of you. And then he's been playing not slowly but very methodically. And I realized there's like 2 minutes left in the... it's like 7 minutes left in the clock, and we're starting round 4 here. He finds no gun. He starts rolling out. I like garbage shoot him with the rookie pilot, and I land on shields on black 1, and I take them. He's like, okay, you could be killing me. And I'm like, no, I'm taking the shields. He's like, okay, he does all of his stuff. He ends up just getting rid of 1 shield, and he takes like another shield here and a shield here. And I'm like, alright, so let's count right now. You've taken 7 plus 9. I've taken 7 plus 10. Let me just roll out these 3 vehicles and throw a bunch of damage into the Mandalorian Super Commandos. And I'm now winning on time. 1 minute left of the round. Yeah, so I'm going to not be a dick. And I am not going to try and time you out here. But at this point, you have to kill Rookie Pilot this round, or else you lose. And he does, and he draws into round 5 backup muscle, and just the backup muscle. He has no upgrade. I'm like, okay, this is game. So I'm rolling out stuff. I draw a C-3PO. I roll him out. I start taking shields like crazy to win on time. I end up killing off 1 commando, moves over to the other. He does stuff. I end up losing like this much damage onto the rookie, but it's fine. Time's called, and I win. 7 plus 21 to 19 to 18. Yeah, no, it was 18 plus the 6. Yeah, so 21 to 24, I win. And I won on time. So that's how I won on time, because he was playing very methodically. You know, he was doing the whole thing where he was passing a lot whilst he still had cards in his hand when I'm the only one who has actions left to take, because he was trying to psych me out in case I had removal. And I was just playing as if he didn't have removal all the time. But honestly, the psych out, I think, might have worked once or twice, actually. But, you know, he was playing methodically. He had to play methodically. I don't blame him for that, but I ended up winning on time as a vehicle deck. Because I could just do enough damage in the last round and he couldn't kill me with my removal suites and stuff like that. Alright, so at this point, I am 6-1. I am super happy with myself, and we are going into Game 8. And I go up against a guy called Miles, and people are telling me, hey, be careful of Miles. He's got a terrifying deck. And I look at this deck. I look at this character suite, and I'm like, you know, this might work, but I think I've got the edge, because I've got Negotiates, which will be very effective against Snoke, and I draw, and I actually get a Negotiate, but I don't get any, I don't get any vehicles. I get Negotiate, double easy pickings, and a single vehicle, I think, a single resistance crate speeder. But I roll out Ezra, he rolls out his 2 characters, and he does not get, he doesn't get any resources. I negotiate both of them. He has no other stuff on Snoke, and that's it. And I say to him, hey, why are you playing Sebulba and not like a Greedo with profitable connections or something? And he's like, no, I can't. The Greedo, the reason why I'm playing the Sebulba is for that extra resource side, which is very important, and the extra 2 health, because 2 health matters greatly against other aggro decks. I'm like, okay. He does not have Chance Cube. He ends up just taking like 1 resource on Snoke. I steal the resources. At this point, I have like so many resources going into round 2, but I didn't get any vehicles round 1. Go into round 2, I get out some runaway boomers, and but I don't have any way of stopping his resource side, which he rolls. He rolls in resource side, he gets 3 resources. He has Chance Cube, he gets 3 more resources. He had 2 resources from the start of the turn, so he's looking at 8 resources right now. A nice scruffy away a Planetary Uprising. And then he goes, alright, so I'm just going to play Archangel and Houndstooth and a Count Dooku Speeder. Okay. And then I'm going to draw cards, and that's my turn. Okay, so he's set up heavily for this turn, but I kill Sienna. It's like, yeah, I kill Sienna, and it's important I kill Sienna because she has an action to spend 2 resources to ready a vehicle, which could get quite scary. Okay, so going into round 3, I have more vehicles out. I have a black 1 double runaway. I have black 1 runaway boomers, 2 resistance crate speeders. I'm like, okay, this is going pretty well. Round 3, you know, I play like I think an air speeder. And I roll in and I kill off Sebulba, but not before he manages to take 3 resources on him. Okay, rolls in Subnoke, gets 3 more resources. Okay. But he leaves the resources out. He rolls the Archangel, rolls the Houndstooth, and he's like, alright, I'm going to Friends in High Places? What? Friends in High Places? Yeah, I'm going to Friends in High Places, and I'm going to get out an ATST. Okay. And then I'm going to Friends in High Places again, and get out a Hailfire Droid. Okay. And then I'm going to delve for another ATST. Okay. And then I'm going to hardcast another Hellfire Droid tank. Obviously, he did this in a very different order to what I'm suggesting. Yeah, that's scary. That's really, really scary. And you know what? It's so scary. I die round 3. Round 1, he had nothing. By round 3, he kills me. Because I don't have removal for this. For all of this. It's like so much indirect damage. It's just like double Friends in High Places into Delve, and I'm like, oh my god, I am so happy. This deck is fantastic. It's like, wow. I love this deck concept. I love it. I'm going to be playing this at some point. I want to try it because this sounds fantastic, to be able to just use Snoke as an engine, use Sienna to just if you need to like super ATSD if you only get one vehicle out. If you get multiple vehicles out, this is fantastic because it allows you to start doing so much. And he's like, yeah, this is an amazing deck. This is a fantastic. You do what I do, but better. Because my deck ramps, his deck ramps, but his deck ramps harder. And I'm never going to get a better turn 1 than what I did in terms of removing his dice with the negotiates and him not having chance cube, right? I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I cannot stress that this deck is going to be new meta. There's going to be Afra Snoke decks, and there's going to be this Snoke decks. People are playing the Bazine Stormtrooper Snoke with like profitable connections. Don't play that anymore. This is just better. You guys should be playing this deck, and it is called Crotch Rocket. Thanks for that, Hyperloops. They called it Crotch Rocket. Yeah, great. Thanks guys. All right. So at this point, I'm like, okay, well, I got into top 16. There's 3 of these decks in top 16. If I pair up against any of these, I'm losing the best 2 out of 3. No contest. I'm losing the best 2 out of 3. I ramp, he ramps, but he has bigger numbers than me. That's just how it goes. I don't have enough removals to stop these friends in high places, and I don't have Force Illusions and Cautions to stop him from killing me. Whilst he does have... whilst he has like Dark Rituals, and he has a Feel Your Anger. I think his version was running a Force Illusion, but some people were running Force Illusion, some people weren't. This one I downloaded off the internet was not running Force Illusion, but he was. And I just could not stand against this. But it was a very good game. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed losing round 3. So, Saturday rolls around. Because we were playing on Friday. I had to take a day out from work on this. So, Saturday rolls around. And we're not playing Saturday. What's happening Saturday is a 2 versus 2 tournament. Which I don't attend. Sounded really fun. But I brought Finn Mars and I could not get someone to agree to also play a Finn Maz or a Sabine deck, and we were just going to go ultimate cancer. How does a Finn Maz deck with 4 hyperspace jumps and 4 retreats sound? That sounds ridiculous, right? You can't beat that in a 2v2. You just can't beat 4 hyperspace jumps, 4 retreats. But I couldn't get anyone to play it with me, and I needed to buy clothes anyway. Because I walked into a hotel and asked for a hotel. I walked into a Holiday Night Inn. Because in case I didn't win in case I didn't make the cut, I was just going to go home that day. But I won, so I stayed. And I did have a bag full of clothes that I took with me for the next 2 days. But at some point in that convention, I put down my bag of clothes whilst I was talking to someone, and then I did not pick it up, and I just walked away. And I could not find that bag of clothes. So I spent the morning instead buying clothes, going to M&S and buying some new clothes. So I'm 110 out of pocket on that. But, I needed some new clothes. I restocked my wardrobe, whatever, It was around midday at this point. I have my lunch, and then I go in and I start trying to get some pods for some prize tickets. But no one was playing pods. I ended up staying at the convention for 4 hours, just being bored out of my mind, whilst no one applied for it. It seemed like everyone else had gone, who wasn't in this 2 versus 2 tournament, had gone to a different convention center that was about an hour away. But on the other side of Birmingham, which was a Insomnia, which was a video game festival. But it was it was past lunchtime by the time I finished, so I didn't want to turn up. I didn't want to go because by the time I got there, I was going to have like a few hours, then I was going to go home. So I took a lazy day. I slept off the fact that I only had like 4 hours of sleep the night before. And I just didn't do much that day, unfortunately. But they found my bag of clothes in the afternoon, and the security guard gave me some shit for it, He was like, he was like, yeah, don't worry, don't be embarrassed about it. You know, you wouldn't believe how often this happens. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, this is the first time it's happened. I can't believe it either. It was fantastic. So at that point, I had 2 bags of clothes that I then had to cart around with me for the Sunday. Okay, so Sunday comes along, the big day, top 16, and I go up against a Yoda, Anakin, Cassian, Mill. And I check the bracket. And Crotch Rocket, all 3 of them are on the other side of the bracket. And I'm like, thank God, this bracket is the side with all of the Mill decks. And I have dealt well against Mill decks. Why am I blue? I really should change to red at this point, let's be honest. So that was fantastic. All right, so I sit down and I'm up against a Mill deck piloted by 11-year-old guy called Tommy. And honestly, he was the best Mill player in the tournament. He's the one who had the hardest time, who I had the hardest time against. He also made what I think is a critical mistake. He was not using Yoda to take resources instead of discard from the top of my deck. So I think he eventually lost. He lost because he wasn't familiar against my deck. In particular, he was playing his deck very solidly, but he wasn't playing against the specifics of my deck. He wasn't playing very well to the fact that I could steal all of his resources and keep him drowned out. He wasn't discarding. He wasn't discarding enough, I think, to try and find his upgrades. But honestly, there's nothing to talk about game 1. Game 1, I drew both blaster pistols, and then I rolled into 9 damage. I rolled into 9 damage naturally, and then I used a Yoda special to turn to 10 damage and one-shot his Cassian round 1. So he lost round 1. He had no chance at all. He tried. No, I rolled too much hot fire. He had no chance. So round 2 comes along, and I'm going to start this discussion second round of round 2, actually, because this was quite a turning point, because I actually lost round 2. This is the, I'm going to say it right here, this is the only Mill game I lost in the tournament. So what I did is we started round 2, and I scruffied Calling Event, because I wanted to hit some of his removal, and then go for some kills. And I look at his hand, and this is what I see. I see a second chance, a hyperspace jump, hidden motive, easy pickings, and clandestine operation, which allows him to discard from the top of my deck equal to the number of cards he just resolved, which could have been big. I get rid of easy pickings because I'm running double resistance because I'm rolling in double resistance crate speeder, and I figured I'm not worried about hyperspace jump. I can keep him off of 3 resources, and I can try and go for like a kill on Yoda. With the hidden, and I'm not so worried about the hidden motive. But that was a very, very big mistake, because I didn't consider the fact that he had double bartering out. So when it came down to it and he rolls in, he ends up with a bartering special, with rolling in bartering special naturally, a Yoda special naturally, and another bartering like this. And then he clandestines operations. He goes Yoda to discard 1 off the top of my deck and go for a focus. Discard 1 off the top of my deck and go for a focus. Take 2 resources, take 2 resources and draw 2 cards. And then clandestine operations to discard 4 off the top of my deck. So I was milled for 8 that round 2. And I couldn't recover, honestly. He discarded both chance cubes, and I could not recover from losing 8 cards round 2. Along with then, he had 2 extra resources, which allowed him to... he hit a motive, and he also drew into something. I forget what he drew into. I think it was another easy pickings, or it might have been a beguile. And he had the 2 resources for it because of his bartering. And so I lost. And so I lost round 2 very naturally. But I maintain that if he didn't roll in... If I got rid of clandestine operations instead of easy pickings, I would have won. Because I did kill Yoda that round, but I just lost too much at that point. And when he got an Anakin pod racer, he'd been fine. Then round 3 comes along, I get out a single blaster pistol and a crate speeder, and he gets out the Anakin Skywalker's pod racer, round 1. And I end up one-shotting Anakin that round. And for the joke, he ends up ditching Anakin Skywalker's pod racer for Anakin Skywalker and puts the pod racer in his place. He's like, yeah, pod racer's a character now. And this ended up being quite a grueling match in which I managed to stop him from getting resources. He still got out a second chance on Cassian, but I managed to get rid of enough of his resources. And then he discarded the last card from my hand with his last die, and he's like, yes, because you can't kill me this round because of Force Illusion and second chance on Cassian. And then I activate Yoda and pull Chansky to my hand. I'm like, I'm sorry, man. Yeah, I'd been planning that before. Sorry. And with this chance cube, I was able to go into another round and kill him. Chance cube won me the game quite significantly there. And so he lost, I won. It's kind of felt a little bad beating him, but they were the best games I played in the tournament, and they were very fun games. Round 2 and 3 were very fun games, very much back and forth. I thought I could manage to win the clandestine operation, and I just couldn't. And he knew how to play his deck. He knew he needed to get second chances and Force Illusions on and not go for this hyperspace jump in to win, and instead go for that stuff in to win. And it was working out very well for him. But I managed to just barely eke out a Game 3 win. Whew. And, you know, he was a bit of a fan as well. I mean, he watched my videos, so, you know, that was good. He didn't, unfortunately, watch my videos closely enough to understand how my deck worked. But, you know, he was a good player, 11-year-old. He was a good player. He was 11-year-old and a fantastic player. And best mill player in the tournament. If there was anyone who could take Mill to the top table, it would have been him. But unfortunately, he got paired against a very good anti-Mill deck. Alright, so round 10 comes around, and I go up against Sam, the only 3-man meta person, honorary 3-man meta person, that managed to make it through through the top 16. Now, 3-man meta Twitch, their Twitch actually has a VOD of this. So you guys can watch that if you want. And I think it very clearly shows how I dominate Mill in this sphere. But the VOD cuts out one very crucial moment. Okay, so it's round 2. All right. Round 2. It's game 1, round 2, I believe it was. Or was it game 2? No. It was game 2, round 1. Sorry. No. It was game 2, round 2. Sorry. And we're in this board state just before the game gets cut off. It's his round, all right? And I have a DH17, and no, these dice should be gone. But I have a rookie pilot that hasn't rolled out. I have a 4-speed special, double Yoda special. He spent his resources on this Force meditation. Double Yoda shields, a 2 ranged on a crate speeder. Which can become a 3 ranged with the Crate Speeder's ability. A 1 shield with the Crate Speeder, a wiring special, and a Yoda discard. Okay? And he is trying desperately to keep his Yoda alive. And he has like an Anakin die here. He discards a second chance to re-roll. And this is immediately when it gets cut out. Okay? So he re-rolls, and he hits a resource and the other Force Jump special, and he's super happy about this. He's been blanking my he blanked my DH17 die earlier, and he's super happy about this because now he can Force Jump special whatever I throw out. So I roll in the rookie. I roll in, and the chance cube rolls a blank because of course it does. Now the DH17 pistol rolls in a +2, the rookie rolls in a blank, and I re-roll the resistance crate speeder, and it gets a 2 indirect. Okay? Now look at this board state. And what he does from here is he uses Force Jump, and he blanks my resistance crate speeder, re-rolls the Force Jump in, and it rolls into a blank. So he Yodas, turns this to a special, and takes a shield onto Yoda, trying and soak as much damage as possible, because he knows this Force Jump has been the bane of my existence. All right, now look at this. Now look at this. What should be my next round move? I have 3 cards in hand to discard to reroll, but I don't need to do that. What should be my move? Okay, you might not see it yet, and that's completely understandable because I haven't shown the full picture here. Because what I need to do now is I start by resolving the wiring special. He puts 1 damage into Cassian, 1 damage into Yoda, 2 damage into Skywalker. Spot lethal. All right. So, if you have paused the video, I hope you have paused the video and tried to find the best solution. So, best solution is here. I 4-speed special to use C-3PO's action to make this a triple focus. To go to the 3, to go to the 2 ranged, the +2, the +2, and the +2. 8 damage. But it's actually 9 to kill Cassian. Gets around force jump. Cassian is dead. He puts away the force meditation and the bartering. And then the VOD cuts back in, and they're like, oh, yeah, that was the worst possible time for that VOD to get cut out, and no one could figure out how I killed him. Because obviously, it cut out before I enrolled in the rookie pilot. And there was just too many actions for people to figure it out. It was only like 2 minutes, but those 2 minutes were crucial to kill him in the second round. And with Cassian dead, he loses the force meditation, he loses the bartering. It's game. It's game over. There's nothing he can do here. He cannot mill me fast enough. And Yoda's taking damage, right? So I win the second game very decisively. And you can see the rest of how that game happened and how that first game happened on the VOD. I'm going to tell them to save it to make sure the VOD is still up. So, top 8 is a win. Now then, top 4 comes along, and you'll notice in 3-man meta, that was the last game that was streamed because no one... there was one person in each of the top 4 games who did not want to be streamed. And they were not required to be streamed. And as much as we begged them, neither of them were willing to be streamed. Fine. So, top 4 comes along. And I am facing a Cad Bane Snoke. And I'm like, huh. It's very interesting that you've managed to make it this far. And he's like, yeah, I've been quite lucky. Okay. I'm like, so why didn't you want to get streamed? And he's like, well, you know, I don't want people to be talking about how I could have done better or whatever, you know. It's very upsetting for me to get... yeah, it's very upsetting for me to... what? Go away. Do play it. Am I stuck with this? Am I really stuck with this? With this menu? Wow, okay. We're just going to copy all of this and then start anew because, wow, that is super annoying. And then we're just going to paste it all. That's going to happen for all of these. No, we're going to paste it all into a classic version. All right. That is super annoying. I'm going to have to report that bug. I did not mean to press Bond. I meant to press Classic. Let's just go into normal Star Wars Destiny. All right. I'm going to complain to Elrathian about that. Okay, so red was 2, I was 3, spawn, and then paste. Nope, bad paste. Paste. Closer, but the opposite way around. So bad paste again. All right, turn around and paste. Nope, nope. All right, but I'm up against the Cad Bane Snoke. Anyway, so I'm up against Cad Bane Snoke. Now, it's just going to be the wrong way around. It's not faced on my orientation, so I'm going to have to swap these around. That's fantastic. All right, so I'm up against a Cad Bane Snoke. Yeah, and he's like, yeah, I got lucky. I was like, okay. But also, the other reason why I think he didn't want to get, streamed is because there was some controversy that was happening. So what happened in his top 16 match, his opponent made a bad play because of the board state being untidy, shall we say. So at one point, his Snoke was dead. It had taken the 11 damage required to kill him. But he didn't flip the Snoke over. So his opponent thought he had 10. He was on 10 health. So he... and Cad Bane had 2 health left. And he had a Resistance Crate Speeder that hadn't used its special thing yet. Was it? Or was it like a Hellfire Droid tank? It might have been a Hellfire Droid tank, actually. Yeah, sorry. It was a Hellfire Droid tank. And it hadn't... And Cad Bane was on 1 hit point. Cad Bane was on 1 hit point, and the guy rolled a 2 ranged, and he had 1 card left in hand. And he saw this, and he didn't realize this was lethal because Snoke was dead. So he re-rolled to try and get the indirect to kill both, assuming that Snoke had 1 more health left. Didn't have 1 more health left. So he missed lethal there. And there was a little bit of controversy there as a result, but neither player realized that Snoke had not been turned over. He thought Snoke wasn't dead, and the other guy forgot to turn Snoke over, right? And it was ruled that it was fair. So we start, and he's going to pick his battlefield, and I'm going to get take shields on Ezra. Now, as long as Ezra lives, I'll be fine, and I get a pretty decent hand, you know. I've got Garbage Chute, which can remove his damage dice. I've got Chance Cube, and I've got a R2-D2 and Boomers. You know, I can go for some quite significant damage here. And then he starts the round. He's playing Outer and Outpost, by the way, which is a bit different for Cad Snokes. Very good against my deck because it gives him an extra resource. So I can't just resource... I can't very easily resource starve him. And it also lets him draw a card and like manage his hand better. Most of them play Frozen Wastes, which also would have been good against me to remove one of my dice. So I've got what I think is a good hand, and he's like, all right, I'm just going to start. And yeah, turn 1, he has nothing. He just has nothing. He has no upgrades. He just rolls out Cad Bane directly. And he ends up on a resource side and a 2-for-1 discard. Actually did land on that. So I'm like, okay, cool. Chance Cube. Yeah, let's do it. Well, no, I was actually Ezra rollout. Yeah, let's do this. And then he's like, okay, I'm gonna yeah, what is it? I'm gonna take flight and reroll both of these. I'm like, okay. And he ends up hitting a resource and a 3-for-1. He's like, all right, Snoke action. Boom. 5 into Ezra. I'm like, 5. That hurts. It's like, yeah, okay. So Ezra's on 4. This is fine. And then I'm doing stuff, and then he's like, all right, I'm just going to where is it? Bait and switch for 2 from Cad Bane into Ezra for 2 more damage. Ah, shoot. Okay. That's a problem. I'm rolling out. I'm doing fine, you know. I get out a Boomers. I get out an R2-D2. I start doing stuff. Next round comes along. He's like, all right, I finally drew it. So I'm going to Hole Out Blaster and roll out Cad Bane. And he ends up getting the he ends up getting the yeah, he goes 2 and a resource here and the 3-for-1 again. And he's like, all right, I'm just going to do 3-for-1 and I'm going to hit Yoda for 5. Like, this is some damage. I'm going to have to actually Garbage Shoot 1 die with this rookie pilot. That's a problem. So I used the rookie pilot for that. He's like, all right, now I'm just going to bait and switch to the 2-for-1. And then I'm going to play Truce. And then I'm going to resolve the 2-for-1 to kill Ezra. Like, yeah. At that point, I'm like, well, this game's basically over. I dealt basically no damage to that Cad Bane first round. And my damage is indirect because it's the runaway Boomers. Oh dear. So I realized that I have made a grave error. So Sabine decks I can deal with. Sabine decks tend not to have a lot of health, but a Cad Bane deck has 23 health, so they're good against Boomers. What Cad Bane decks suffer against I thought with like Garbage Shoot and Negotiate, I would be fine against Cad Bane decks because I can deal with their dice even if they're not showing damage, as long as I get the action. I'm not getting the action. He's doing take flights, he's doing bait and switches. I'm not getting enough actions to roll out an Ezra and then play and negotiate. And I don't get the ability to do easy pickings either. So he's killing me. Too fast. This is too fast for me to handle. This is Finn Mars levels of fast, but not Finn Mars levels of health. What I needed here is I needed cautions and I needed force illusions. A force illusion on a 5 from Cad Bane, fine. A single force illusion might win me the game, honestly. But I'm just not getting that. And I lose round 1. And I realize my deck is bad against this. And suddenly I am panicking. Okay, so going into round 2, something interesting happens. I just destroyed the holdout blaster. Let me get another one. There we go. Getting rid of all these dice is a pain. Okay, so he has managed to kill off both Yoda and Ezra turn 2. But I'm saying to myself, okay, I need to completely change my style of play at this point. I need to not be ramping. Ramping does not work. He kills me way too fast, and his deck is way too uninteractable for me to handle this. So I've played the Resistance Create Speed, a Fang Fighter, and a DH-17. DH-17 on the character who he's last going to attack. Right? Rookie had taken 1 point of damage at this point. And I have a 1 ranged out here. And he's got a Force Illusion. I can probably pop this Force Illusion and kill him round 2, and that sets me up for a decent situation where it's going to be Snoke versus Cad Bane, and Snoke can't do anything right now. So I'm just going to pop the 1 ranged right now, and I do so. And he says, he ums and ahs for a very long time. He says, I am going to take the damage and kill Cad Bane. So that holdout blaster goes to Snoke. So that way he can roll out Snoke. He gets the double focus. And I have no removal. And he gets to double focus. There. He gets to double focus. I'm just going to take away for 4 damage. Because I only have this amount of health left. So I roll in Fang Fighter, I roll in C-3PO. And I end up with 2 here, a resource here. They're both rookie dice, god damn it. And I roll in the DH-17 and the rookie, and the DH-17 lands on a 1, and the rookie is a blank. How did that die spawn? Now I can, at this point, I take 4 damage. Boom. Which puts me very much into the danger zone round 2. Or maybe it was start of round 3, I forget. I'm looking at this situation, and I do have a resource available for me to focus turn to do 4 to Snoke. But instead I do 1 to Snoke. And I take shields. I take these as 2 shields, so that this way I don't die to a single one of his dice. And my idea here is that if I draw in, he double focuses again, I can remove one of his dice, and he can only do 2 damage to me max, and I survive for the round. Assuming he doesn't draw another weapon. So, start of the next round turns up, and I draw 2 vehicles, and this setup here, very interesting setup. And I see him discard an all-in and draw 4. It's like, okay. And then he rolls in the Snoke and the holdout blaster. Well, okay, I wish I could say I saw him roll in the... I wish I could say I saw him roll in... I wish I could say I saw him discard the all-in. I actually didn't. That's actually a lie. But he told me later I discarded the all-in for this. Because I'm looking at this, I'm thinking to myself, I can't negotiate. It's not my turn. I don't have a die out. I can't garbage shoot because neither of these are showing damage. But if he does the double focus, I survive. Because he didn't manage to draw another weapon. I just need to remove one of these dice. I should be fine. So, I think to myself, what is the one thing that loses me this game? all in. So I Scruffy, and I play the Scruffy triumphantly, and I don't say event. I play it and I yell, all in. I call all in, or something like that. And he looks at me and he goes, God damn it. And he shows the all in that would have killed me. So I survive. And then he plays bait and switch and turns it to the 2-for-1 and shoots Rookie. I was like, okay, lose the 2 shields. And then I'm rolling out, and I play another vehicle. I think it was another crate speeder, get it out. But I can't afford to do much more than just the one vehicle. And I roll in, and I do like 5 damage to Snoke. Sorry, I do I do 4 to Snoke. Because he double hit, he doesn't use my dice. So okay, that's quite scary. But alright, I still have the garbage chute. Draw into the next round. He plays a gun at this point, another gun at this point. But he drans on double. The end of the round, I use a resistance crate speeder to get 2 more shields with the C-3PO, and I'm like, I need to shield. I need to just shield and survive. Okay, going into round 4 now. He plays another X8 Night. He plays an X8 Night Sniper. He rolls out, but they both land on damage. I get into the garbage, shoot them both. It's fantastic. Okay. It's fantastic, and he ends up doing again 2 more damage to me. So round 4, Snoke has taken some beating here, and I'm alive off the back of C-3PO Fangfighter. It wasn't a resistance crate speeder. I apologize, but it was something. It was something. It might have been a Y-wing or another Fangfighter. It was something. Whatever. It's relevant though. That's relevant. I'm surviving against this rookie pilot with just 2 shields. I'm removing his dice. I negotiated and I into the garbage shooted, and then later, no, I didn't negotiate. I into the garbage shooted, and that left him with just Snoke dice, so he was able to focus 2 more damage. So I take shields again. So I'm alive still. I end up doing more stuff. I end up getting Snoke a bit more damage, but I end up taking shields again instead of putting Snoke to 2 hit points left. And then I discard my negotiate because I'm at 5 cards left going into round 5. Or maybe this is round 6 at this point. I forget. I am, at this point, shielding up with Rookie Pilot and surviving on the skin of my teeth here. Because he just can't get damage to stick. And I know, I look through my entire discard pile, and I know that the last 2 of these cards in my deck are both pinned down. I'm going to have 3 resources at the start of this, and I know I'm going to have 2 pinned downs. And if I can remove the Holdout Blaster and the X8, because again I see 3PO shield, then I will survive this next round. If he lets me both X8 and Holdout, I will survive. And he can't play cards like Take Flight and stuff because he only has 1 yellow die, so it's very awkward for him. And he has no. I got rid of both. He has neither. No there. He has no all-ins. He still has Force Illusion, but he has no all-ins and he has no bait and switches. So I draw the last 5 cards from my deck. Easy pickings, Resistance Crest Speeder, Rally Aid, Pin Down. And we roll in. I get to remove 1 Snoke die. I get to remove the other Snoke die. I'm rolling in my dice. I roll in my dice. I get to resolve 2 damage. 2 more damage. Sorry, no. I roll in all my dice here at this point. And I'm looking good. I'm looking strong. And then he... but I roll mostly blanks. Even after the reroll. I have 1 resource left. And then he mind tricks. And I'm like, shit, I just walked into a mind trick. So I'm like, how do I do this? It was like this, by the way. I'm like, how do I do this? Well, yeah, sorry. Snoke was at 7. How do I do a mind trick here? Well, I put a Yoda special, the C-3PO with a 2 range, and I leave the other 4 dice here. Now, these 4 dice can, of course, roll into damage. And so he removes the 4. And then I do the 2 ranged. And then he claims. And I'm like, thank God! Thank God! I had 1 resource left, sorry, because I paid for 2 pin downs. And I'm like, okay, thank God, because Rally Aid, boom! Resistance Craft Speeder, boom! Focus to the 3, boom, you're dead. The maths doesn't add up here. It was like that. I did 2 damage and then it was like that. And he claimed. Like, boom, into 3, you're dead. Off of the back of 1 resource from Rally Aid. Surprise damage. I have no cards left in hand. Round 6 probably it was. But I survived. Off of C-3PO shielding the 2 3 times to keep me alive. And round 2 I win. And I'm like, whoo! He's like, okay, I want a 5-minute break here to go to the toilet and relax a bit. There's still an hour and 10 minutes on the clock. These were 20 minutes game. These were 2 15-minute games, so we've got plenty of time. I'm like, sure. Okay, so round 3 comes along. And everything's to play for here. I'm nervous as hell. He's nervous as hell. We are terrified. And this is the situation we get into round 3. Round 2, sorry. I have 2 cards. They're both vehicles. Don't worry about them. For some rerolls. He's tapped out. He's managed to get some pretty nice stuff out, but I've been able... I was able to caution and then take a lot of shield, so Yoda's still alive. I have, at this point, 7 plus 4. I have 11 health. So I feel pretty decent here going into round 3. And I'm looking at this. And I'm looking. I'm thinking to myself... After he's claimed, I'm thinking to myself, there's no way I can kill Cad Bane here. He's got this Force Illusion. I've got 6 damage here. If I reroll, I can get the 2-for-1, and I can do 4 and 3, which puts Cad Bane at 1 health, and I don't win. Or was it? This is where I so wish they were streamed. So, he was using... I think this was part of where maybe the controversy earlier was. He was using tokens that had 5s, 3s, and 1s on them. And he was showing a 5, and I genuinely don't remember if he was on 8 health or 9. I feel like I was staring at this for a long time thinking that I don't have any chance of lethal here on that Cad Bane. I don't have a chance. But maybe I did, because immediately after the game was over, my mind immediately was like, he had 9 health. Why didn't you kill him? But at that point, the game was over, and I could not verify. I had 2 rerolls in hand. If I hit the 1 or the 2-for-1, I can then resolve 3 and resolve 3 for the kill. And if I killed Cad Bane, this was a 1 game because I have so much health. There's no way Snoke can deal with this. So I have been torturing myself for days and days and days, and this might be part of why I didn't want to make this video until so late when I was basically forced to. Because I just can't remember if it was 8 or 9 health. I can't remember if he had 3 tokens on the field or 2 tokens on the field. If he had 9 health, I needed to discard and go for it, because this is a 1 in 3 twice to go and get the game. As it was, I didn't, and I said resolve 6 into Snoke, because my idea here is that even though arguably, actually, popping Force Illusion might have been just a good idea to set Cad Bane up for an early death next turn if I rolled out a 2 ranged on a Resistance Great Speeder. You know, I have 2 of them after all. I would have been fine, and it would have been good. But I put 6 into Snoke, and that was a big mistake. A big mistake. But if I think it was a big mistake in general, but if he had 9 health, it was very much a mistake. Okay, so... but I'm looking at this and I'm thinking I'm pretty good here. So next round comes up and I draw these 5 cards. Pin down into the garbage chute, black 1, double airspeeder. And I'm like, oh, this is great. This is great. I should definitely be able with an airspeeder to kill Cad Bane. If not, I've got pin downs and I've got garbage chutes. I'm looking great. Then he rolls out Snoke and he gets a blank. A resource. and a single focus on 4-speed. I'm like, whew, he's rolled out Snoke first. He probably has all in his hand. But he's used up some weapons. I know he's discarded some weapons to reroll. I don't think he's got any more weapons left. So I can do some pin down and garbage use. I don't really want to spend a pin down on a single focus because he can always just discard to reroll into another focus, and then he's still got his all in play. You know, and I've got 11 health. If I roll out Yoda and get some specials here, I should be able to focus some specials here, which I ended up getting. I should be able to get some shields, and then I'm very safe. Then he looks at me, and he goes, oh, and he spends 6 minutes on this, and I immediately realize my mistake. Let's do some maths, people. So, my theory here is that he can't do 11 damage to 2 characters splitting, because he has to split. He has to god roll, and even then he might not be able to because of the split. He can, if he god rolls, right, he gets a 3-for-1, a 3-for-1, a 3-for-1, and a +2. He still goes to here to kill off Yoda, and then the 3-for-1 leaves Rookie at 1 hit point, right? But he can, of course, use Cad Bane's ability to do more damage to the Rookie pilot or something. But then I think to myself, wait a second, it's all in. I've got a problem with range damage, right? It's not just range damage, because this one focus can turn into a double focus here, and so long as if he god rolls on 2 dice, he can then focus into a 2 indirect. If he god rolls on 3 dice, he can focus into a 2 indirect, and that's game. Oh god, that's a problem for me. I should absolutely have pinned down this single focus side. But come on, what are the chances he god rolls me, right? Oh wait, yeah, no. What are the chances he god rolls me? Am I forgetting what deck he has? He has Take Flight. He doesn't even need to god roll. So if one of these lands on a 2, he's still got it, right? Or if one of these lands on a 1, if he god rolls on 1, if he god rolls on 2 dice, gets a almost god roll on a 3rd dice, then he's got the game. But of course, this is who I'm playing against, right? He then is like, I think I have it. 11 is beatable, and I'm going to go for it. So he plays X8 Night Sniper and rolls in. I'm like, oh god, my math is completely wrong. He has an extra 3. That is enough to kill me. That's enough to do 11 with just these dice, because now he's doing 12, and he can actually split these exactly how he wants. So he can do... wait, no. He can split these, but it's still not enough. It's still not enough. I'm fine. I'm safe-ish. Okay? I'm safe. Alright. And he rolls in. He gets nothing. Let's just set all of these to blank. You know, he doesn't get anything. He takes flight. He rerolls. What's this? All in? Yeah. He rerolls, and he gets a 3-for-1 and a 2 ranged. It's like, alright. I'm going to bait and switch to the double indirect. And I'm like, oh, maybe I should have removed the resource instead. Maybe I should have removed the resource instead of removing the focus, but either way I needed to remove something with pin down. Oh god. And then, honestly, thinking about it, definitely should have removed the double, the resource. And then he goes all in. And he focuses and double focuses. And he goes to the 3-for-1 and the +2. There's like, okay, 5 into you to kill, and then 2 indirect for the game. And I'm like, oh, my maths. It wasn't even that lucky that he did it. The LL30 would have been fine. It wasn't even lucky. I just completely messed up earlier, if I messed up earlier and didn't go for the kill on Cad Bane. And then I messed up again by not removing either of the dice with pin down. Because that was then saving me from lethal. I was like, I'm safe from lethal, but I didn't factor in the 2 indirect from Snoke. Of course, he also could have very easily, if it wasn't for this 2 indirect on Snoke, he could have played a 3rd gun and gone for take flights, bait and switches with that, and potentially gone for it again. So maybe I should have gone for the focus instead, but with the resource, he went for the X8 and kept a Force illusion just in case, even though it was going to pop anyway. But he got rid of his redeploy weapon, so I don't really know what he was doing there. He should totally have used Cad Bane as the ambush, but and he managed to kill me. 11 health in 1 turn. Basically just 2 actions, and nothing I could do. Well, there was plenty I could have done, and I couldn't do it. And so I lost at top 4. I definitely could have gone to the end. The final match was against I believe it was a Snoke, Stormtrooper Bazine, and it's similar to the Crotch Rocket, but I think I could have done better against it. Even with the profitable connections, I think I could have done better against it. I don't think it 100% committed to the Friends in High Places delve shenanigans. But who knows? I would have been very happy with 2nd place, but I'm still happy with top 4. I made it top 4. I beat all the 3-man meta guys, The guys who got to the finals, from my perspective, are no names, I was the best of the named characters, I got really lucky, though. I preyed upon mill decks. I lost 1 mill game in total. This deck is fantastic against mill. The Hyperloops guys, specifically, honestly sarcastic, loves to say that mill beats vehicles. Mill does not beat vehicles. Vehicles beats mill. Vehicles just has to run more ramp and run DH17s, run more dice. That's all you have to do, and then you're fine against mill. Also, Cad Bane Snoke, very surprised at how well it did. He was a good player, and the big takeaway here is that he rolled that 2-for-1 discard a lot, never resolved it with Cad Bane, with Snoke. He knew that he had to go very fast against my deck, and so he did not resolve the 2-for-1 discard to become a 4-for-1 discard. And honestly, I don't know what the hell that is, but honestly, it was the correct decision by far. I didn't care. I wouldn't have cared about losing my 4-for-1, all my cards, because as long as I kept 1 vehicle, I was good. And if not, well, I could still do 5 to the Snoke and take 2 shields and stuff with Yoda. I was still in a decent position, even if he didn't discard 4-for-1. And that is a resource cost as well on the 2 discard. So very well played from him. Very scary deck. I think that might be one of the new aggro decks to beat. New Sabine, perhaps. Hyperspace Jump is terrifying, but man, he is fast. So fast. I was not prepared for it. So yeah. It's been me, GameSlayer99, aka No Brainer. Thank you guys very much for watching. I am sorry this took so long. Is there anything else I want to say? Just a reminder that you guys aren't going to be seeing anything for 2 more weeks. I apologize, I'm going on holiday. So this is basically 4 weeks without content. I know, terrible YouTuber. I apologize heavily. But we'll see. We'll see how the meta is by the time I get back. We'll see how things have changed. It'll be interesting. So me, GameSlayer99, aka No Brainer. Thank you for watching. Signing out.